PPR consensus rankings 13 through 24. Are these guys too high, too low, or just right? We'll find out right now with Dave Richard on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Okay, number 13, Dave, is Puka Nacua. Too high, too low, or just right?
It's just right, if not maybe a tad too low. I think he's worthy of being a late round 1 pick. When you're up with one of those late first round picks, if he's the last wide receiver in the top tier that is available, and you know that there's just like a drop off after that, it won't be the same class of wide receivers when you're up in rounds 3 or 4. You take Puka, and then you take another one of the best running backs with him, maybe another receiver. The best case scenario is to take Puka and Garrett Wilson with those back-to-back picks at the end of round 1, beginning of round 2.
14 and 15 are 2 running backs, Kyren Williams and Saquon Barkley. You like that order? And are they too high, too low, or just right? Kyren 14, Barkley 15.
I think they're just right, but I would take Saquon ahead of Kyren Williams. I think Saquon locked into that main role in Philadelphia last season. In the games that he had at least 15 touches, I believe there were 11 of them, averaged over 18 PPR points per game. That was in New York. That was with a bad offensive line. That was with a suspect quarterback. That was with a suspect offense. I feel a lot better about Saquon in Philadelphia. Yes, even though he'll share with Jalen Hurts, and yes, even with Jalen Hurts not throwing to his running backs as much as other quarterbacks have. Kyren Williams was awesome last year, but he's just the second running back in the Sean McVay era in LA to register over 1,000 total yards. I think it's okay to take him in early round 2, Adam, but I would make a beeline toward Blake Corum in round 8 if you get Kyren Williams, just to lock up the Rams backfield and hope that those guys can piecemeal together a good season for you as your RB starter.
All right, next up we have Marvin Harrison Jr. at 16 overall. Just right? Too high, too low?
I know that this is going to steam some people, but I think this is just right. You look at the track record of Kyler Murray with the Cardinals, hyper targeting his number 1 guy. I think it's going to happen with Marvin Harrison. He's certainly deserving of it. He is not your typical rookie wide receiver. He's outstanding. He can do almost anything. I expect him to get anywhere between 8.5 and 10 targets per game with lots of yardage, lots of touchdowns to come with it. He's worthy of being taken as a top 20 pick.
Okay, then we've got 2 running backs at 17 and 18, Travis Etienne and Isaiah Pacheco. How do you feel about that?
I think this is just right for them, too. I know that Etienne left a sour taste in our mouths last season. I think the Jaguars are going to try and do a better job of balancing his workload while keeping him on the field for high-value touches. That means working in the passing game, getting in the end zone as much, if not a little bit more, as last year. Supremely talented running back on a team that's going to score a lot of points. Pacheco, exact same thing. Who's taking him off the field? And this is a legitimate question in Kansas City. Is it going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Is that going to last all season long? We know that Pacheco can catch. He showed that toward the second half of last season. When the Chiefs trusted him, this is the second half of the regular season and into the playoffs, he was awesome. And I think he's going to be awesome again this year.
Okay, after Etienne and Pacheco, we got 19 is Chris Olave. Chris Olave at 19. What do you think?
I think this is just right, but I understand why people are nervous to trust Olave. This is more of a projection than anything else. I like the new offense in New Orleans. I think it'll be beneficial for Derek Carr. That means it's going to be beneficial for Olave. He's got a good track record in his games when he's had at least 7 targets. I'm kind of hoping, this is more of a hope than like, yes, this is going to happen, that he sees in the neighborhood of 7.5 targets per game and isn't just the go route guy that he was last year. Some route diversification, maybe shrink the A dot a little bit, let him make plays after the catch. He was very good at that last year. Chris Olave is the next best receiver after Marvin Harrison for now.
Okay. After Olave, after Olave, we only have 45 seconds left. We have James Cook, Rachaad White, because it got a little interesting here. You know, this is like, there wasn't a lot of disagreement with the top 19, but then the last 5, James Cook, Rachaad White, Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, and Josh Jacobs. James Cook, Rachaad White, Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs. Is this PPR? How many of those 5 do you think belong in the top 24?
I think White does. I think Jacobs does. And the reason why I'm a little hesitant with James Cook is because the track record of Bills running backs isn't great. And his last 5 games, this is with Joe Brady, this includes the postseason, under 13 PPR points in each of them. Really tailed off toward the end of the year once he started to get more work. So I'm a little hesitant on James Cook getting a huge workload like he did after the OC switch last season in Buffalo. I think he's worthy of being a top 30 pick, just not a top 24 pick. I'd rather have Rachaad White, and I would rather have Josh Jacobs.
Okay, and Derrick Henry, I know you have
Derrick Henry I have as a top 20 pick.
Yeah. That's Dave Richard. If you want to hear more about our consensus top 24, check out the full-length podcast on Fantasy Football Today. I'm Adam Azer. Talk to you tomorrow.